What's going on, everybody? It's the Hook Cam back again with another draft class recap. Today, checking out the Las Vegas Raiders, taking a look at their draft, seeing how this fits into their offense. Did they address the needs that they needed to address? But before we dive into this film, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to my channel, The Hook Cam, as well as to Jackson Kruger Sports. That would mean the world to both of us, as we are both cranking out videos. Jackson uploaded what seemed like hundreds of videos on draft night. I don't know how the man puts in this much work day in and day out. A true grinder, does everything he can for the subs, for his fans. And I think that we all appreciate that. So please give him a little love. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Now, with that being said, let's dive in to this Raiders draft class. Some very interesting picks. Obviously, the first pick that they go with right after this Raiders highlight that I have put in there is going to be Henry Ruggs III. And Henry Ruggs, let's back it up actually. With this receiver class, CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, could you really go wrong with any of those three guys? Is kind of my answer when I start thinking about this, because I have some friends who are Raiders fans who were kind of disappointed in this pick, especially with CeeDee Lamb sitting on the board. But he falls, you start getting the questions, maybe character issues, I don't know, maybe there just has to be something, because that dude is such a great playmaker. There has to be something going on there that caused him to fall. But obviously we don't know, and we know that Gruden's somebody who's going to go get his guy, and whether people like that or not, you live and die by it, whatever. Gruden's going to go get his dude. I personally respect it. If you're a coach and people say Henry Ruggs is the third best receiver, and you look at him and say, no, he's my number one guy in this draft, and you take him at 13 or 12, then go do it, man. Live and die on that hill. And that's what Gruden does, and I respect the hell out of him for being like that. He's old school like that. Now, what does Henry Ruggs bring to this offense? First and foremost, this dude is a freak playmaker. And are his routes the most polished? No. Obviously, he's got stuff to work on. Every receiver coming out of college does. But there were a couple of things that I really liked about Henry Ruggs that stood out to me more so than a guy like CeeDee Lamb, who I think was kind of the consensus pick for the Raiders at 12 if he was still on the board. My personal opinion is that SEC receivers like Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs, they have to deal with straight-up press coverage way more often, right? And when you look at SEC defenses compared to Big 12 defenses are going to be in a lot more cover 4. They're going to be playing off. Their whole motto is, we're just not going to get torched. That's the thing. We're going to drop it. We're going to rally to anything underneath. So when you draft a receiver like CeeDee Lamb, who hasn't dealt with that press coverage, who hasn't dealt with that straight man-on-man, there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment phase. Am I saying that CeeDee Lamb's going to be a bad NFL receiver? Absolutely not. CeeDee Lamb's going to be a stud. I'm just saying that I think Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy, they've had to deal with a little bit more press, a little bit more straight-up man coverage that you're going to see in the NFL. So with that being said, I think that they might be a little bit more NFL ready. Now, as far as what Henry Ruggs can do, obviously we all know he's incredibly explosive. He's incredibly fast. We see this little double move him, right? This little double move from him, this little slant and go, just torching guys, being able to go up and catch footballs, running that deep dig on third like this, 3rd and 19. We're running a dig at 18 yards, catching, getting up, give me that first down. I think there's a lot that he's going to bring to this Raiders offense. It's going to open up a lot of things for Carr stretching the field, for maybe, and sometimes it doesn't even have to be him, taking a ball 60 yards downfield. I mean, this dude can turn slants into 70-yard touchdowns, 80-yard touchdowns. The kid has this very legitimate breakaway speed, and I think that he's going to be a fundamental piece for this Raiders team for years to come. I really do. I think that he is an absolute stud. I think this was a good pick for Gruden, and in classic Gruden fashion, he doesn't care who you think's number one. He's got who he thinks is number one. He's going to go with that guy. So they pick Henry Ruggs. Like I said, I like the pick. I think it's going to be electric for them. And you can get into who you think's a better receiver, on a different time, because at the end of the day, all three of these guys were absolute studs and are going to make impacts on their team. Now they go on and they draft Damon Arnett with their next pick in the first round, 19th overall. And this one had a little bit more question marks with it. And this is what I think happens, right? In the draft, you have your positions of need and you have best available. Right, and in this situation, I think that Gruden looked at Arnett, and yeah, there were a couple other corners on the board. Gladney was another one. The kid from Auburn, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Noah, I know is his first name. But yeah, those guys are on the board. Those guys went first round, but once again, Gruden's opinion, Arnett's my number one. Mayock's opinion, Arnett's my number one. We're going to go get him. And these Ohio State guys are good. You look at Jeff Okudah, who was drafted at 3 overall. One thing I love about these Ohio State corners, they come up and tackle. Look at this play. He's playing off coverage. They're trying to set up a screen here, or a quick little smoke screen, because he's playing off, right? And he's just going to come up and make this play. Good tackle. Good form tackle. Wait for guys to rally around you. And it's stuff like this that Damon Arnett did game in and game out. Here's a good play against Indiana. I know somebody's broken this down before, right? But we're off the line of scrimmage. We're pressed up. We get that opposite arm firing off. As soon as that receiver goes up, we're going to jump right up through that catch point, knock that ball away. Phenomenal play from Arnett. Right, and he does this, like I said, all the time. Here's a little honey badger in him, and I don't mean Tyrann Mathieu. When I say the term honey badger, I just mean a dude who just goes out and gets it, man. He's just always working. He's always grinding, right? Guy catches this ball. There's separation. Arnett closes, rips that ball out. Right, I don't know if I called that incomplete or fumble, but you get what I'm saying. The kid just goes and gets it, and you got to respect that about him. Right, Arnett here at the top, coming up, making a tackle. There's a lot to be said because the whole philosophy of offenses sometimes is just get my guys in space. So they're going to run these 5-yard speed outs, and this receiver is going to catch it 10 times out of 10. And it's about this corner coming up and making this play that makes him valuable. If you can limit that gain to 3 yards instead of one-on-one situation where that receiver breaks some ankles and then we're off, now we're in trouble. But Arnett, to me, I think was a good pick at that position. It made sense to me. And again, they addressed a position of need, and I think they go out and they got a solid guy. So moving on to their next pick, 3rd round, Lynn Bowden, running back, receiver out of Kentucky. Again, lightning in a bottle. We kind of see the theme with Gruden in this draft of, hey, I'm going to draft playmakers, and Lynn Bowden is absolutely that. Here's him going deep on, and he's definitely at a little bit of a height disadvantage here, but he goes up, gets this ball, nice back shoulder from him. The kid can do it all. And the one thing that you love to see with this is get my man out in space. He's going to make a play. Once he gets to the edge, he's going to be able to find room. He's going to be able to make some cuts and make some big plays. And that's to me was the theme of this draft at the receiver position. For Gruden and for Mayock was, I'm going to find playmakers, I'm going to find guys who create separation and who can make plays down the field. And to me, with all 3 of the receivers that they drafted, they addressed all of those needs. Now, this kid, to me, Bryan Edwards, our next pick, picked in the 3rd round, 81st overall. They go 80 and 81 back-to-back receivers. I really like this Bryan Edwards kid. I mean, this dude looks like an absolute tank when he's got the football in his hands. He makes contested catches. He does a good job creating separation. After he catches the ball, look at this, looking for contact, trying to split 2. Good luck trying to bring this guy down. Another thing that they did a lot at South Carolina was they gave him this ball on like fly sweeps. Now, I got to keep the clips a little bit shorter due to the whole YouTube thing, but he's getting the ball on a fly sweep in this situation, coming upfield. Look at this dude just dragging Alabama defenders. I mean, this is the grit that you know Gruden's watching. He's got his eyebrow up, and he's just going, yeah, man. Like, he just absolutely loves this stuff, and it's tough not to as a football guy, right? Here he is on another jet sweep, just lowering the shoulder on Alabama safeties. This kid can do it all. And it was really impressive to me, and I think that this was absolutely a good pick from Gruden in this situation. I like this kid's playmaking abilities. Now with the next pick, 3rd round again, 100th overall, they go Tanner Muse from Clemson, safety, linebacker. I don't know what you want to call him technically because he was all over the field. I guess he played more of a safety at Clemson, but they rolled their safeties down so much. Really with Isaiah Simmons and Tanner Muse, they were able to roll those safeties down and play them in the box. Here's a good example, 3rd and 2. We're the backside on this. We're just going to squeeze this thing down, tackle for loss, set them up for 4th down. Now, I liked the way this Muse kid played, and he played all over, and having that experience playing at all 3 levels of the field is very helpful, right? And he did a good job coming off of the edge, making tackles. He did a good job in coverage. He's got a couple interceptions to his name, but here's a play as well that I really liked from him. Having a safety who can come up and make a play and come up and fill against the run is very helpful, right? I mean, we're coming back here from 8 yards deep, and we're coming back and filling on this play. That's good play from 19. Very, very good play from 19. So it's tough to hate on that pick when you kind of look at what he brings to the table and how he could fit into this Raiders defense. Maybe they start putting him as like a Sam backer where he's going to be split out in a situation like this, right? If they're going, 2 by 2 or 3 by 1, and he's going to be apex between the tackle and receiver. Well, this is great because he can come in and fill if that ball's handed off, or he can come in and pressure like this. Dude's got a ton of experience pressuring the quarterback. I think there's a lot of things that Muse brings to the table. And again, I think that this was a really solid pick from Gruden, right? It's a guy that he's going to find spots to play him in. I don't necessarily think he's going to be lining up at free safety or anything, but I think that there are going to be spots for Tanner Muse to play. Now, moving on to a couple of their depth picks, only 2 more left. John Simpson, the guard out of Clemson, definitely a depth guy to me. I think that him sitting behind Incognito and Gabe Jackson is going to help him tremendously. He's got a couple of red flags to me on film. Here he is, 74 right here. A little bit of a false step in this situation, but again, I think that he's a depth guy. He's not a guy that you're looking to come in and play 16 games for you off the snap. He does have some very good snaps, so this is a great play from Simpson on this. I love the awareness. Big thing for guards, right? Working up to this, all offensive linemen, not just guards. We're comboing here up to this second level. We got to block this with our body, right? We got to block this with our eyes. So he blocks out with his body, works up, hits out with his eyes. Works up and takes that linebacker. But again, like, he's moving dudes on double teams. He does a lot of things well. I think he skinnies his base a little bit too much, gets a little too stiff-legged, which is kind of a theme I'm saying with these offensive linemen. It happens when guys are going from college to the NFL. It's going to happen. But again, a depth pick for the Raiders and a guy that I definitely will like to see in 2-3 years from now when he's had some time to polish up. Now, their second, 4th round pick and their last pick of the draft. I love the fact that they just hammered out all their picks in the first 4 rounds. Hysterical to me. Amick Robertson from Louisiana Tech. This is a guy that I actually looked into film before the draft and was very interested to see where this kid goes. I think that Amick Robertson has a tremendous amount of potential. And this kid does a great job contesting catches, coming up, making plays. Talk about a dude who's a little bit of a honey badger in terms of he's just going to go get it. This is Amick Robertson, right? He's going to make plays. He's going to go for that pick. He's going to come up and make tackles. He consistently finds himself in the right place when making the play on a football. The kid's all over the place. His film against Texas specifically, he does a great job of wrapping with that outside arm, not in the terms of a PI, and then coming across for a big pass deflection. So I think that the Amick Robertson guy may be a nickel guy for the Raiders down the road. Very interested to see how his career plays out in Las Vegas. So anyway, guys, the Raiders signed a number of undrafted free agents. There's a couple of guys who I think have a sneaky chance to make the roster, but a lot of those guys were depth signings. And I'll be, like I said, a good preseason, a good camp can land a guy on a practice squad or a roster. So we'll see what happens with those guys. But anyway, all in all, I thought it was a good draft for the Raiders, and I think that they might get a little bit of hate here and there, but they addressed positions of need. They went out and got their guys. Gruden's not going to settle. He's not going to listen to anybody else. He's going to listen to the guys in the room because that's who he trusts. So very interested to see how the Raiders perform this year. I think it's going to be a lot of fun out there in Vegas. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for this video. If you enjoyed, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, that would mean the world to me, as well as to Jackson Kruger Sports. I know we're both cranking out videos left and right. So that's all I got for you guys today. I'll be back with some more draft recap. I got a Dolphins one on the way, but that's all I got for you guys today, and I will see you next time.